Hey there folks, and welcome to Medieval Engineers. This game was just released as of February 19th on Steam. For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, this game is, as of right now, it's just a sandbox medieval game where you can build things and destroy things with awesome realistic physics, but there's far more to come. And the developer behind this is Keen Software House. They're the same people that made Space Engineers, and if it's anything like Space Engineers, they're going to be updating it on a regular basis, and it's going to be nothing like the game that you see here in just a couple months' time because they'll have added so much content. At least that's the hope. So, let's take a look at the actual game itself. As you see, if you're familiar with Space Engineers, this is all a very, very familiar setup. You have your little news here in this corner here. You have your New World, Load World, Workshop, which brings you to the Steam Workshop. You have your options, help, credits, so on and so forth. For game options, you just have different things such as disable head bob, show crosshairs, rotational hints, that sort of thing. Building mode, when you place a block, is it just a single block, a line of blocks, or a flat plane of blocks? Also, this game is going to be multiplayer, and they have said that they have been really working on the multiplayer, because for Space Engineers, multiplayer is a little bit glitchy and buggy, but they said they've been working on it quite a lot, and hopefully in the future they're going to release some updates for that. Alright, so that's just your game options. Display, you have your resolution, full windowed, all sorts of things. We'll enable VSync, probably should have done that. Yeah. Graphics, we're just gonna run everything on high. There's all sorts of graphics options. I don't have the AA set up that high because I have a higher resolution, so I don't necessarily need higher AA. But for those of you who are running on like 1080 or something, you can go all the way up to MSAA times 8, which is pretty crazy. And audio, you have your standard audio settings. Controls, not much for controls, but there's all these different options there as well. So let's actually take a look at the game itself. We're going to start a new world. You have your quick start, which just shoves you in some sort of random world, but we're going to do a custom world. And just like in Space Engineers, you have these presets which you can choose. You have your little house here. You have two houses with some other things in it. You have your plains, which is just an empty world. You have your castle, which is pretty cool, and you have your bridge, and you have large terrain, normal terrain, and small terrain, and very small terrain, just for building things. And let us choose, for the sake of this video, two houses is actually a pretty good starter world, so we're gonna start that. Meet you back when the world is loaded. Alright, so here we are in the two houses world. There are a lot of nice things that are just here to showcase what the game is and what the game can be. So right here we just have some walls that are wooden walls. We have some cobblestone walls. We have an empty house that we can furnish. And yes, there are things you can furnish your house with, which is nice. You have wooden chairs, beds, chests, tables, barrels, and all of these things I'm sure are going to have uses in the future, and it's just right now they're in for decoration, I'm pretty sure. Also, we have a nice stone wall for us, already created for us to destroy. How very nice of them. And if you guys are unfamiliar with Space Engineers, this is a voxel-based game, so eventually you're going to be able to, dig into the terrain like you could in, say, 7 Days to Die or Minecraft. Also, these things get destroyed in an awesome way. So right now we're just going to equip a projectile thrower. If you just click it, it kind of drops the projectile. So you gotta hold it down and launch it. And there you go. It does destroy whatever it hits for the most part. If you launch a larger projectile, well, you can say goodbye to the wall. And everything is physics-based, which is pretty awesome. And these things don't disappear. They stay there. So eventually you're going to probably be able to recollect all of those materials from your destroyed castle. And if you are familiar with Space Engineers, a lot of the controls are strikingly similar. And even the free flight mode is the button you press to normally turn on your jetpack. And it feels as though you're flying a jetpack, which is kind of cool. And everything is very, very similar. You can load up blueprints just like you could in Space Engineers, and copy and paste things. Whoops, I accidentally fired a stone. I should probably take that off. And I can just place these. Whoops, if I want to copy those, I can copy you. And I can paste you right there. And all sorts of things. Let's turn off our flying mode. Let's furnish our house. Just to show you what we can do. So let's throw the wooden chair in our inventory, wooden table, wooden bed, wooden chest, wooden barrel, torch stand, bonfire we'll put outside, and later in the episode we're going to build something and then destroy it to show you some more of the physics that are in the game, and we're also going to show you some of the other things that are in the game, such as dynamic objects. Right now we're essentially placing static objects which don't move, and if they move, they tend to explode. So there are dynamic objects which do move, and we'll show you those. And it's a little bit bugged at the moment, but it literally just came out. However, as far as alphas that just came out go, it's in pretty good shape, I'd say. Put a torch by our door. Put a couple of barrels in the corner, which I'm guess are going to probably be used as cargo containers are in Space Engineers, where you can store things. Just put a couple of these in the corner. There we go. Looks kind of like a medieval house. Got the window looking out over our destroyed wall that's not really a wall. And yeah, there is, well, let's actually showcase the structural integrity feature of the game. So let's just take a couple of these stone blocks, turn on our flying mode, makes it a little bit easier. We can build things pretty high. However, structural stress is put on the bottom blocks as we add weight to it. Also, if we add torsion to it by, say, building off to the side, this whole thing will eventually collapse. A couple more. Wow, this is actually a lot stronger than I thought. Oh, and there it goes. It all collapsed. So you do have to be careful about how you build things. And there are pillars for support, which are not just for decoration. You actually need to use these for supporting things. So that's kind of cool. Also, the wood is not quite as strong as the stone. You can place a couple of wood walls down. These, if you kind of notice, they look very much like windows do, or they work very much like windows do in Space Engineers. So you really can't place any block on this side because this is technically the whole block. It's not just a tiny little sliver of one. It takes up an entire block. And as you see, this is, oh, there you go. The whole thing collapsed because there was too much weight on that bottom block over there. And you can do all sorts of fun things with it. Yep. As you see, one projectile pretty much destroyed the entire little wooden tower over there. And we can have more fun with it. Let's show you some dynamic objects in a little bit. Just have a little bit of fun destroying these objects while we can. It's going to be fun eventually when we're going to be able to build this in a survival type mode with your friends. And hopefully they work on the multiplayer so we can actually play with a lot of friends. Because right now you're kind of limited, at least in Space Engineers, with how many people you can play with because the game is kind of buggy in multiplayer. But they said they've been working on it, and I do believe them because they've shown a couple of update videos about it. So let us show you some of the dynamic objects. So these blocks right here are mostly for the dynamic objects, which are things that use ropes and all sorts of cogs and things to make things work. And I'll kind of demonstrate that for you. I probably won't be able to build anything super cool, but we'll try to show you what can be done with them. Let's just take some of these things. Don't need a catapult head. We're not going to build a catapult because I'm not that good. Alright, and well, let's take some windmill blades, maybe. Alright. And let's plow through our debris over there. Also, we're also going to take a look at the voxel hands, which is essentially we can change the terrain with these hands, which is nice. Nice little feature they've added. All right, so let's make a couple of wooden beams. There we go. Let's place one there. Rotate this around. Oh, need one more block there. And just going to... How can I rotate this correctly? There we go. And if you press Control, as you see, you can just drag it. You can just drag something up like that. And then you can make an entire wall of it if you press Shift. I'm honestly surprised that's still standing. Must be because it's a dynamic block. Can I knock you over? Yes, I can knock you over. And we damaged our house. And it exploded. Good job, us. Alright. We're also going to re-rotate this. And do that. We're going to do the same thing on this side that we did over there. Oops, this is a bit too high. And now we can just, I think, one more block there. Oop. And we'll do the same thing on this side. 5 blocks. 4 blocks. There we go. And we'll rotate you around. And yes, as you see, there is an autosave feature. Okay. So, we are going to attach... I didn't think this through well enough. Let's rotate you around like that. And... put a couple of blocks here. There we go. And we'll also do the same thing that we did over here. Okay, now we're going to put a hand crank here, and we can attach rope from that to there. Nope. My mistake. Goodbye. Hello. There we go. So we have rope attached, and we can turn things now. I know it doesn't look like it's turning, but it's technically turning because the ropes are attached. I wonder if we attach something to it, if we can actually show you what's happening. That's a latch block. A catch block. I wonder if we attach one of these, if it'll actually turn, but judging by the fact that this actually wasn't turning, I don't think you'll see it, but you can actually make things happen with it. Unfortunately, it appears as though I'm terrible at this, but yes, you can attach ropes to different things to make things do things, like make catapults and whatnot. However, because I'm absolutely terrible at this, we're going to... Where's our large projectile? Goodbye, thank you for wasting our time. Haha. Boom. Yes. And they get destroyed pretty easily. But not as easily as that stone wall. Holy crap. And they might have to, you know, either nerf the strength of these dynamic blocks or buff the strength of those stone walls, because holy crap, that stone ball just obliterated that. Anyhow, let's take a look at the voxel hands. So you have your standard box, your capsule shape, your ramp shape, your sphere shape, and your auto level. And there are different options. You can set your size 1 by 1 block, 1.5 by 1.5, and so on and so forth. So let's just do something like that, and you can see it's kind of shrinking it down. Or if we say go here, hooray, we're making grass. And same thing as before, you can just kind of drag it in all sorts of shapes. And yes, you can even make things float for now. I'm guessing that's probably not going to be a thing later in the game, but they're using these Space Engineers engines, so kind of understand it. Because in space, something like this could be a thing, but not in Medieval Engineers. But I'm sure they're going to be working on that. And one thing I'm not sure of is, say we take our large projectile and we shoot it at that, will it destroy it? Nope, it just destroys the projectile. So right now, the Earth is invincible. However, that is actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that those little ricocheted parts that fly off can actually do damage. You can hear them damaging the roof of our building. Donk. And yes, you can also destroy trees and stuff, which I'm sure you're going to be able to harvest, or have to harvest, in a survival mode to get timber to make wooden houses, and eventually you're going to have to mine stone to get your stone. And as you can see, there's stone over there in the distance. Right now we're just on grass and dirt. Here, let's have fun with this bridge, shall we? So you can knock down pillars and the whole thing will still stand up because of the structural integrity. But if you knock out enough pillars, the whole thing will collapse. Ooh, it's probably very close to collapse right now. Is it gonna fall? Oh wow, this thing's really, really strong. I'm impressed. Oh no, never mind. The entire thing pretty much did collapse, with the exception of these little blocks here, which are inordinately strong by the looks of it. Alright, well, that has been a little preview of Medieval Engineers. We're going to be taking a look at a couple of cool builds in the future, as well as user creations and updates that they do to the game. So that will be it for this episode of Medieval Engineers. Thank you for watching, and I will see you folks next time.